Hey everyone out there. Time for another live session every single Monday night at 8 p.m. We're coming out here live and trying to add value to everyone out there. So I'm coming in here and this every week we're going to bring in somebody different, somebody to interview to add value to our group, our Metro Detroit off market real estate group. Also, we're streaming this to my YouTube channel as well. So on this will be on Randy Steadwell on YouTube. So keep us in mind. We are going to be out here doing our thing. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. We'll answer them here live. If you're watching this as a replay, still put them in the comments. I'll answer them afterwards as soon as I can. So, this next guest is, an awesome guy that, he's been hustling for a little bit, trying to get his first deal. And, he's had some failures. He's had some successes, things like that. But ultimately, as the title says it, he got his first deal with zero marketing dollars. So we'll find out how he did it and what he's planning on doing in the future, things like that. Welcome, Matt Lee. How you doing, Matt?
Hello. What's up, Randy?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm great.
So, we're streaming right now to I think I got a little bit of a feedback with you, but
Oh, you might. Let me turn the volume down.
yeah.
My headphones are
And
dead. I forgot to charge them. So
oh, okay. So we have a um as we posted out there, you did your first deal. How many times how first off, when did you learn about wholesaling, and what was your reaction to it, and how you got started and things like that, all the way up until you actually closed your first deal? How long was it?
yeah, so I actually started or learned about it in April. So back in April, that's when I was on Facebook. You know those Facebook videos, little
Mm-hmm.
the reels, scrolling
Yeah.
through that, and I kept seeing this one guy, Paul. It was Paul McComb. Rest in peace. He passed away, but it's Paul McComb. He's a wholesaler. Um, so I kept seeing him, and I'm like, okay. And then I you know, didn't think anything of it until probably a couple weeks later. After that, I saw it again, and then I kept seeing these real estate videos and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, something's up. So I looked up like same guy, and then okay, I'll get it. So I looked up wholesaling. So when I looked up wholesaling, I'm like, oh, okay, this is real estate. Like, okay, you don't need a real estate license for this. Okay, it got me interested.
Yep.
So after that, I just kept looking up YouTube videos, and at that time, I was working at the at Flagstar Bank. I was working in an office, so I just sit in the office all day doing paperwork. I could sit on my phone, um, so I just sit there all day watching YouTube. You know, start with the basics
Yep.
first, of course. What is
Oh
wholesaling?
yeah.
What is real estate? This and that. The basic knowledge of it. And
Mm-hmm.
then once I got that going, I'm like, okay. And then I started learning about actually taking action, and that's what really got me scared because I'm always. I mean, I'm not scared to talk to people, but on the phone, yeah, I am. Randy
Okay.
knows. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so but I gotten a lot better with it. I'm not gonna lie. Like from when I started to when am now, I am
Mm-hmm.
surprised how much better I got at it. I don't realize it until you actually think back.
Yep.
But once I got that on the way, I think it was back in like May is when I went to the first REI. That's when I met Randy, and I'm like, okay, this and that. I got to get all these knowledge of real estate. I gotta understand what ARV is. What are these terminologies were? Because I didn't know what a comp was or ARV. I didn't understand that. And eventually, through time, you see that terminology so much, you just memorize it. So I went to the
Right.
REI meeting, and that's when I actually, told myself, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna get anywhere if I don't actually take action. So when
Okay.
I just kept watching a lot of YouTube videos to motivate me. I watched a lot of Zach and Rick, his father and son duo. They teach a lot of
Hmm.
how to literally. This is literally off a YouTuber. They teach you literally how to do this without no marketing. So literally, it's just copy and paste, right?
Okay.
So this is literally what I did. So that this is
So
what I
so what YouTube channel was that again?
was that.
Who was that again? What YouTube channel?
Oh yeah, I'll tell you guys because he's all about it too. Zach and Rick, and I think the last name
Okay.
is Jin. Yeah, so
Okay.
they have separate channels, but they have a father son duo. They go live like every day. They teach us like little tricks that gurus, you know,
Yep.
gurus they teach, or they make you pay like thousands of dollars for. And when literally you can learn this stuff for free. So I'm like, I don't have the money, and I know people that done it without money. I see it. I want to be those people that do it without money. It's possible, right? Everything's there.
Hmm.
And so once that I got that, understanding, and I'm like,
Hmm.
okay. So once I got the part where I finally called people, and I didn't have a script, and so I kept watching YouTube. So I learned and learned and learned, you know.
Uh-huh.
And once I got that going, and then I'm like, dang, nothing's working, blah 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 blah. But then at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, all it takes is one deal, one good deal.
Oh
So I
yeah.
just kept going, and I've had a lot of failures. I'm not gonna lie. Randy knows I had a lot of failures. I tell him this and stuff like that. Good deals, bad deals. Um,
Hmm.
I actually, yeah.
So let's do this. What was your first, I would say, under contract? And because I don't want to say your first deal because
Yeah.
we'll leave that going, but what was your first under contract and what did you learn from it? How did it go wrong? You know, tell me the story.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So literally, so my first actual contract I got, that was like it's one of those things that like, okay, I finally got that first step done. I got a contract, and now literally it's just finding a buyer, literally.
Okay.
So after I did that, so once you find the contract, once you get the seller, once you get the house under contract, when I got that contract, my life, like I actually like, oh my gosh, I'm about to make $10,000 because the typical wholesale fee assignment is 10,000. All the videos I
Hmm.
watch. So when I watch those videos, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get $10,000. This house, it's Airbnb is 100K. This house, I'm getting it for 30K. I could definitely get it for 100. I mean 40K. Make a $10,000 assignment fee. So
Yep.
when I got the contract, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna send it out. Bam! I think I'm gonna get it sold by tomorrow. But reality is, it is true. Yeah, you can get a deal on the contract, but it's just gotta be the right, what people are looking for technically.
It's got to be a deal.
It's gotta
It's
be. Yeah, you can get a
you
contract.
got a prop, and this is the difference between having a deal and having something under contract.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Just because you have something under contract does not mean it's a deal.
Yep.
Okay. There's a lot of people that have things under contract and they are not, it is just not a deal because there's no buyers or,
Yeah.
they're not going to pay anything for it.
Yeah. Unless
So
you just have someone just buys everything, but it's really
exactly.
unlikely. You know.
Yep.
But it's like you realize when I got the first one under contract, it expired, of course. I mean, I was working hard. It's not like I wasn't doing anything. You start to
Mhm.
realize and see what people want. That's when I actually built my buyers list and what people actually would get a house for or what they're looking for. So
Mhm.
that it kind of added a bonus plus learning
Mhm.
of knowledge in my
Yep.
learning about wholesaling by just asking these buyers what they want, and they're like, yeah, this house would have been a good one, but you know so and so, they give you whatever, so you understand it, so you could do that with
Okay.
another house. So
Okay. So now we go for it. And what happened to that property
so
that you got under contract?
yeah, so at this moment, I don't really know, but then it was, well, from a hearing, it was like a fully gut. It's like a full gut. You needed like everything done. I mean, it was for ARV was like about 110,000 from the comps that we had. And
Okay.
from what I got it under, the seller, it was for 20,000. So I'm like, okay, I can wholesale this for 30,000 because the comp's 100K. I thought it was gonna be
Hmm.
easy, peasy. But when they go see the property, they're like, no, man, this house, it's a house, but it's not worth the time. It's not worth our investment. So and so. So you get a
So
lot of
was it just cosmetic, or did it
it was
need
like a lot of
foundation
foundation,
work?
right? Yeah. The whole
Okay,
kitchen was like gutted.
hmm,
It looked like it was like someone like went in there and dug out like a cave, something like that, in the kitchen.
gotcha.
And the whole house, I mean, it's probably been vacant for at least 3 years. I could say it was
Yeah.
beaten up from the windows, and you could see it. Um,
Hmm.
so it was pretty bad. So I could see why, but then I did go back to the seller and negotiated some terms. They did drop
Hmm.
it some, but a lot of the buyers said no, just nobody was interested. So I'm like, okay,
Gotcha.
maybe I just didn't know enough buyers or so and so. But then the 30 days, I had it for 30 days,
Hmm.
the typical time. But that one didn't go through. But when that one, so what happened was, so when that one was in about to was about to expire, that's when I got kind of motivated. I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
this one, I didn't get a buyer, but then now I got to really get a house. That's when me and
Yep.
Randy, this is probably, it was literally last month. That's when me and Randy, I literally went, I'll teach you guys the marketing, what I did too later, but I literally just went on Facebook one day and then I just found this, literally I woke up, found this deal, messaged them, did my thing. And then me and Randy, once we got that going, we went to the house, did a due diligence, did what we had to do,
Hmm.
and, you know,
So we'll stop you there real
yeah,
quick. All right. Now, because we don't want to go too far ahead. All right.
yes,
Now, you say, okay, you just got this deal. You messaged them, things like that. Message them from where? Where? Like, obviously, I know
yeah,
because
yeah,
I worked with you on that deal.
yeah.
Okay, in full disclosure, I JV'd with Matt on his first deal,
Mhm.
and we closed it.
Yeah,
So, but how did you come across? How did you find the deal? Because I didn't find the deal.
yeah.
You found the deal.
So,
You
yeah,
know.
before I get to that, I mean, the whole reason I got the whole reason. So, when I first started wholesaling, in my head, I was pretty greedy. You get greedy, you're like, oh, I could just do it by myself. But
Right.
this is when I started doing it by myself, and I was getting somewhere, but I wasn't getting anywhere. So this is when I started thinking like JV is, people think JV is bad. You lose a lot of money, but technically, it's literally paperwork you're giving over, just giving selling it for a signing fee. So I'm like, literally, I'm not losing nothing, really. So
Hmm.
I'm like, JV is not hard. I gain something from it from a partner that I work with. But when I JV, it's got to be somebody that, like, of course, Randy, someone that knows what they're doing, just not just some typical somebody else, you know, that I wouldn't really, know. But
Now, and when I JV, I take over and I take over the whole process, but I don't leave you out of it.
yeah,
I try to I explain the whole process going through it,
mhm.
okay, and I teach you. So, did you feel that going in? How did you feel about going through the process of when you got it under contract, when you brought it to me, and what was going through your mind on that?
Oh, so when that one, I mean, when it went under contract, that one was like, you talking about the first one we got under contract. Well, I think you put it under contract, I think, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yep. So how, as far as the process from when you brought the deal to me,
yeah.
okay. So what did we talk about? About the deal.
Oh, so for the deal, I mean, for this deal, when I found it, I think the first, yeah, Randy was the first person that I went to because he did have all this, Facebook stuff, and he did know buyers, and so I trusted him. So this right away, I went to him, hey, this is a good deal, and
Hmm.
the only way to know if it's a good deal is if you go see the property. And so this is where it kind of comes for, especially when you're local. This is why, like,
Hmm.
I'm doing local right now in my market instead of virtual wholesaling, which eventually maybe down the line I would, but it was local. So we went to the
Hmm.
property, and I kid you not, when you actually go into the property talking to sellers, the owners of the house, it does. help a lot with the deal. So it does. So this is, and I did go to a lot of houses before that by myself, but there's some stuff that I just don't understand, or I'm not too good at it yet. I'm not experienced enough to actually. I know enough to where like when someone asks me something, I want to be know how to pretty much like close it. Get them to say
Hmm.
yes. But I mean, I just go out there for the experience. So for
Right.
this one, I had Randy come out because I'm like, hey Randy, I want to see how you do it. So when Randy went with me, I talked to the owner, he talks to the owner, we talk, we do our thing. But Randy knows more. He has. I just is that thing like okay, I did my job, and then Randy, your turn. It's like a team. You know,
Yep. So let's go backwards though, before we got there. Because we still haven't talked about your marketing strategy and like
yeah, yeah,
how you came across the deal.
yeah.
So how
Okay.
did you learn about that strategy? I'm assuming by this YouTube channel
Mhm.
that you said about.
Yep.
So talk to me a little bit about that strategy, the
Yeah.
marketing strategy to find the
Oh yeah.
deals
Sure.
and
For
how
sure.
this came about.
Yeah. So how I went from it was, of course, YouTube. So YouTube, you go on, how to wholesale so and so, or how to find your deals, with zero money, so and so. You just type in YouTube, and it gives you, stuff similar to whatever you're talking about, what you want. So you go there, you
Hmm.
watch it. I learned it. I'm like, okay. So I did that. So there was the Facebook one. They teach you about this one's with Facebook, Zillow, and Craigslist, and
Yep.
a whole other things. But I did the Facebook one. So this one, so Facebook, I'm pretty good at it. So I could pretty much tell which one's a wholesaler, posting up, or which one's a realtor. So I could understand it.
Hmm.
So from that thing, so what I do, and then technically I usually do the ones that have the address on it, and it's an actual for sale by owner. And so
Right.
for those ones, and then the ones with the address, before I even message them, I'm pretty quick at it too sometimes. I just go on Zillow, Redfin, find comps real quick, see what the numbers are. If the number's too
Hmm.
high, and I don't even bother, talking to them, because it's like, I already know, they're asking too much,
Yep.
and even I get too low, it's just still gonna be too low, and it's not gonna be enough room for us to make a buyer want it. So I just do that. So I just keep going out, do Facebook, finding houses, finding houses, finding houses, and then you find the ones that you read the description, you could tell if it's a for sale by owner for real. So you just click,
Hmm.
you just go there, and you can see the price and the address, and everything makes right, and everything makes sense. I look up Redfin, I find the comps, and then if the numbers are like close to market value or just a little bit lower, then that's when I typically message them. So I mean, this is a little secret I do some too, but it's worked. So the way I do that, and then I just go, of course, hey, is this available? And if they reply back, that's when you'd be like, because if they don't reply back, then okay, don't worry about it. But if they do reply back, that's when okay, this person is likely to talk to me or communicate with me quickly and good. So when I do
Yep.
that, I have little things, I'd be like, I'll teach them my little. Well, I had to build a script to time, of course. So it's
Okay.
SMS. It's literally messaging. Sometimes I even have to
Okay.
talk on the phone. So I like, of course, Randy knows I like to text a lot, or I like to message a lot. Sometimes I do call, but most of my time I am texting. There's nothing wrong with that sometimes, but that strategy works. So that's why I
Hmm.
like to learn everything. Because it does work for a lot of other situations. And some sellers, they are not comfortable talking on the phone too, so a lot of people text. So I use that. So I message them on Facebook, and then I message them on Facebook. When I message them on Facebook, I just go through your script, talk to them, you know,
Yep.
pretty much work your magic on the script. I have a script depending on how the conversation flow goes. You know,
Okay.
yeah. So, and I usually just rebuttal whatever here and there if I need to. I can kind of understand where the conversation is going, so that's when sometimes I kind of be like, okay, it's not gonna work out, so I kind of cut it short, but I
Hmm.
keep it where like, hey, if you still want to sell it, my offer's still here, so and so. Okay, so there's still leads, but they're just not gonna take my offer. So
Right.
I just do that consistently, and then you never know until you get that right one that says, yes, I would like to take an offer, or hey, you can come over here, you know, to see my house, So literally this deal, how me and Randy did, it was literally done within like 2 weeks of timing, pretty much. So literally it was like I took all the knowledge, literally it pays off. That's what I said earlier. everything I learned in April, I didn't think I learned will know now. But then, it took me all that time, and then when I got that deal or that lead, it took literally like
Mm-hmm.
a day, But then it may seem like it took forever, but then I used all that stuff I learned in the past and put it into this one deal, or whatever,
Yep.
and did it this one deal, and then it worked. With the moment,
So so on this deal, it's funny because the person you were talking to and the person that we met at the property
Mhm.
were actually two different people.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So there's a reason for that. And
Mhm.
just real quick, what's up, Gary? How you doing? You saying what's up, players? So Gary Corbin, buddy of mine.
Mhm.
Um, and anyways, so how that works is this guy was not tech savvy at all. He was a old school mechanic. All right. And so the person that Matt was texting with was actually his son. And so it's not, you never know if you're actually talking to the right person over text or anything like that. So that's the reason why I like to go to the property. I like to figure out who's who. You can lock things up virtually, and you can go that route. And at one point you may, but this property specific, you really had to see it in person.
Mhm.
So with this property, him being an old school mechanic, he barely knew how to use his phone properly, and he had an Android, I think.
Got it.
So Android or iPhone, whichever.
Mhm.
He had a smartphone, but he barely knew how to use email.
Yep.
So with that being said, he was also a pack rat. So he lived in the house for 30 years and it was vacant, but it was crazy. So on this deal, I went there. I talked with them. Uh, I talked with the owner, and I went that way to be able to show Matt and a good conversation flow, so that we can figure out how things go, and so he can learn as much as possible. So, what'd you think about that? As we were going through all that.
I mean, as I got there, so I let Randy do his thing. So when I went there, Randy, of course, he talked to him. He's more of a talker, and he understands him more. So I just listen. It's always good to especially listen, especially if you're going there to, um, especially if it's like not one of those. If it's your first deal, especially. So I just
Hmm.
listened. So I didn't try to really budge too much. But when I went there like of course you got to go there like you know what you're doing. If you go there like you don't know what you're doing, then of course this seller is definitely not going to be interested in your offer. So when you go there, of course you got to talk, know a little bit about the real estate or something. So once
Hmm.
you do that, they built that trust. So when I did that, he kind of built trust with me because he saw me with Randy. So we talked. I let Randy do his thing. So through that process, literally. So from there, it was literally once we got to the house, Randy literally handled it from there. So so literally, I just
Hmm.
literally watched through the steps. I was there. I asked
Hmm.
him, hey, what's gonna be the next step? You know, what are we gonna do after this? We can do that. So I kept up to date with them, but it's not like I wasn't doing anything, but from the moment this is why I JB and this is why like I kind of see this as like a future like not like a not business partner, but it's just like a future like pattern. Like, hey,
Yep.
I can just consistently do this all the time and it just keeps flowing
Hmm.
like this. I mean, which sometimes it does, you never know. It could, you know.
Yep.
It doesn't you never know until you try it. So but through that one, it's even after this one, it's like through time, even if we don't get the deal, me and Randy and I, we have like this thing. I had like this little, thing that I am kind of works. It's kind of working for us, but for me at least.
Hmm.
So like, hey Randy, if I need to rebuttal on something, I asked, hey, you want to talk to my partner Randy? He has this. Randy calls him. So like it's not like I
Yep.
never, you know, don't talk to that person again. I always be like, hey, I might not be the right person to talk to you about this. Well, I never say that at least, but hey, my partner might be able to, talk to you about this, if you need, some questions. So I'm over here
Now,
scared, I'm over here scared that I'm gonna lose this deal. But then Randy talks to them, gives me a call, hey, don't worry about it, I got it. So this is why like especially when you start, it's always good to have a partner, and it's always good to start
mhm.
like this because you never know when you could have a deal and you lose it. But then if you have someone there to help you, you know, it's gonna happen.
Most definitely. And by the way, this is my buddy Gary, Gary Corbin. Call him for Clean House GC Property Services. All right. So tell you, awesome guy to be for. Not sponsored by him, just a buddy of mine. So does really good work. Now we could have used him on this one because it needed a huge clean out, and I'm actually the buyer's I'm still talking to the seller to this day right now, he's trying to get that cleaned out. So I
Uh,
think he should be done by now, but it's crazy.
mhm.
Now, I have a question for you is because most people out there, they're like, oh, JV, before you even get it locked up, why, you're afraid that they're going to snake it out from you and things like that. At any point, did you feel, now I'm a little biased because I'm me, but at any point did you feel that I would snake the deal from you or go behind your back or do anything like that?
Yeah, this is where it all comes to like trust, or pretty much like, hey, you never know until you try. So it's
Yep.
like it's one of those things like, hey, it's like I met Randy before,
Hmm.
he told me his story. And then I'm kind of in the same boat as he was when he first started. So I'm like, okay, I'm over here like I'm not struggling, but it's like, hey, I could use some guidance, or a push, or at least have
Hmm.
motivation, at least have someone to call when I need something right away. And Randy's pretty good at that. So I was like, okay, even if I never got my first deal, even before that, he was already talking to me, helping me out. So I'm like, hey, I feel comfortable enough, because imagine if I didn't ask Randy to help me on this deal, I may have gotten on the contract under myself, I may have not. I never know because,
Hmm.
like I said, Randy said I was talking to their son through Facebook on this thing, but his dad was the one who made the deals and everything and like did the communication. So we talked to
Hmm.
him at the house. So it made it a lot easier. So if I didn't have that process, and I probably wouldn't have been able to lock it up for as much as we got it for. You know, I could have took that whole thing and I could have probably made more or I made nothing. But through that, it's just
Hmm.
all about, building that trust first. Like anybody could say, hey, I can help you, I have buyers. I'm like, okay, you know, and then after that they don't reply or they don't talk to you at all about anything about wholesale.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, how can I trust you? Maybe if, I find you a buyer and then I send you the JV agreement and
Hmm.
they go back behind my back, they take this deal, and then I don't have nothing written down that says that I have proof, that I said on Facebook, but other than that, it's like, dang.
Right. You don't have a written JV agreement, you don't have where the contract was, because in this instance, I actually put the contract in my company's name versus we could have done it where, the contract was in your name, you
Mhm.
know. Um and that's the thing. It's like there's really trust. It goes both ways. So, the good thing, let me do this real quick. So the good thing between us is that, I live up to my word and what I'm going to say. Okay. And so if I say we're going to do a 50-50 JV, but I just need to take control of the deal, that's essentially what it is, you know? So for that, did you think I was taking a little bit too much control, or were you understanding of where I needed to be and why I need to be there?
Yeah, I mean, I there was moments where I was like, you know what, screw him, or of course, you get like those days. You're like, damn,
Yeah.
I think maybe I'm right, maybe he's wrong. I don't know, because you know, so it's like you
Yep.
get to those points, but it's like okay, I mean, he did bring me a buyer, or he did, yeah, he did bring me a buyer. He did get this thing situated, done like how he said he was. Technically,
Hmm.
we are is technically 50-50. He did his due diligence. I did my due diligence. So yeah, you know, I would totally understand if I wasn't doing anything at all. I just found the lead and I just sat around and walk
Hmm.
behind your back the whole time. But it's like we both worked at it. It's just like as long as we're both doing our part in anything, a JV deal, finding buyers with someone, and then I'm gonna definitely want a JV. So, but right now it's like I told Randy, I didn't give him my word, but it's just like, hey, right now, everything's working right. If I find deals, I don't mind JV. I mean, as much as
Right.
I could do it, like I'm comfortable enough, I could do it myself now in a way,
Hmm.
but it's just like why sometimes.
And that's the thing is like I'm not sitting there saying that every single deal you gotta come to me. No, by any means. I'm here to let you go on your own if you need to, and come to me if you need to. And I really appreciate the kind words, Gary. So I'm a A1 guy, and it really is about who you can trust in this business.
Mhm.
And if you can't trust them, don't do business with them.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing is that, I'm trying to earn this reputation as, I'm somebody that you can come to. I'm here that you can, I'm providing free content for everybody so that as well as if you need anybody to talk to your sellers, I'm here. Okay. And if I can help, I will. Now, the only thing I ask is like, hey, if I'm going in depth like that, then we do a 50-50 JV. That's all I'm asking, you know? If, and the good thing about this property was actually you brought some buyers.
Mhm.
We had a little bit of an open house and we're like, okay, it's a 1 day showing only. Um, and kind of how I worked it was we got photos ahead of time before we even got it under contract. I did a walkthrough video, I did photos, I did all of that. And yeah, let me mute you here. So less feedback. So I did photos, I did video, went through there, and we knew the guy had his bottom dollar of where he had to be, and I sent it off to my buyer, and I'm like, where would you be? You know, um, and he said he'd have to walk through it, but based on the photos, things like that, he gave me a number. And so I was like, I went back, and actually, his number is exactly the lowest that the seller would go. And so I gave the guy two options. And do you remember what those two options were?
Yeah, it was two options. It was a cash offer, and
Hmm.
I think
Well, they
with
were
the
both
second,
cash offers. They were both
oh yeah,
cash offers.
I knew. I don't know why it seems because there's been a lot of numbers going through my head.
Yep.
So I think the first one was 185.
Hmm.
If we close, no, what
Yep.
was it? No, I don't. I actually don't remember. I done a lot of talk
Okay,
around.
that's
So
okay. So what I did was this. I said, listen, I said we would do 185. We'll go as quick as the title company allows us to, and we'll call it a day. All right. Because I know I have a buyer here at 200. All right. Because I sent it off to my buyer and that was the number he gave me. Now, I said that we still had an open house. My buyer still had to walk through it. There's a chance that my buyer came back and he had to be lower, who knows? But I got a rough number where I need to be based on the comps, based on the property, based on all of that. And so I worked with that number. And the good thing is that we brought over three other buyers. Is that right?
yeah, I think it was like I don't remember how many you brought, but there was like three
I
guys came
brought
on.
I brought two
Yeah,
two buyers, and you brought one
I
guy.
brought that one.
Yeah, so you brought one guy. There was another guy that you were talking about that didn't show
I,
up.
I think
So
he didn't show up. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so we brought a total of four buyers through there. Okay. And no, there was a total of three buyers through there. And all of them basically gave the same feedback, was right around exactly where my buyer needed to be.
Mhm.
And so it's a good thing we got it under contract for exactly where it is. So what I did was, is I told him, I said, I told the seller this, I said, I'm gonna do the 185, we'll close as quick as we can. And otherwise, if you really need that 200 number, I said, I can't guarantee it. What I'll do is, I work with a bunch of other investors and I can pitch it out to them, but I need to get under contract in order to do that. Okay. So with that, what did you think about that strategy?
The strategy of when you ask the seller.
Yep.
Also, that strategy. I mean, I ever since like me and Randy go talk to, we had a couple houses we had in the past that we talked to, and I kind of see Randy's script, whatever he says. So I kind of picked that up. I picked that up too. So that's how I try to get deals too. I see that there's two options. Like back then when I first started, you just be like, hey, I got a cash offer. But then
Mm-hmm.
through time you learn about these other strategies. Eventually we get through time to talk about it if we can, but I'm not that good at it yet. But it's just knowing about those options, other options that you can give. Like you could play around with it. It's not like a game, but like you literally, when I learned about it, it's literally that's why they call it creative finance, so or something like
Yes.
that. So it's like you get fun with it a little bit, So
Mm-hmm.
it gives the seller like, damn, I got only two options, but it makes them think they only got two options. So it
Yep.
gets them. You never know, it gives them that thing like, okay, I gotta pick one. This one's good, but then in your head, us as the wholesalers or investors, we know they're both technically good options, for our
Mm-hmm.
end. So it's like, okay, they choose this one, okay, we can do something with that. If they choose this deal, yeah, we already know we can do something with that. So, but as a seller, they think that they have only two options. Or some people they don't care. I just want a cash offer.
Mm-hmm.
Or some people just be like, no, I don't want that. So, but luckily for this one, it
And
was
what was the motivation for this seller? Do you remember?
this was his second house. So this is his first house. He had another house, and I think it was his wife or something. I think yeah, his
Mm-hmm.
wife was in the hospital, so he just really needed to. He just didn't want to have to worry about this house anymore, really, technically, because he has more important things to worry about. So that's pretty much like the gist of it. He
Yeah.
wanted to sell it. His wife was in the hospital. I don't want to say what, but she was in the hospital, so he just wanted to take more care of her and not have to worry about this house. So we offered him a creative finance option as well, but he said he just didn't want anything to do with the house, so it was a cash offer.
Yep.
So luckily, we built that relationship with him through that time, and then we got him to a reasonable number. So, but
Because
luckily,
I tried to do a sub two deal.
yeah,
I
yeah,
tried,
yeah.
or it was
I
more of
mean,
a
this is
hybrid, you
yeah.
know.
It's always
So
good, but it's always good. You never know until you ask it. That's the
yep.
thing about it. So I ask it. So when I ask it now, I don't really understand how to do it yet, but I just give them the option. Yeah, this is so depends if they have a mortgage or not or whatever. But when it comes to that time when I do get that person want to do it, that's when okay, I'm gonna call him, ask Randy or somebody, and hey, how
Yep.
do you do it? And then when I know how to do it, then that's when I can just add that on to my belt and be like, hey, that's a skill, another skill I know. But for luckily, this one was a cash offer, so it worked with the number that me and Randy wanted to get it for. I mean, for a JV deal, it was a pretty good JV deal for a 50-50
Yes.
split. If you really think about it, especially for our first one.
I'm honestly, this was your first deal. You made more on this deal than I made on my first three deals
Mhm.
combined. Okay.
Yeah, so this is one of the reasons why like there's some this I don't know, Randy. Sometimes like I don't know how you learned it. Maybe another time we talk about that. How you learn how to
Yep.
wholesale, how you do it. And so for me, like I watched a lot of so there's like four guys I watched. So there's Jerry Norton, okay, Jerry Norton,
Hmm.
Zach and Rick, King Kong, Pace Morby, and who's the other one? I know there's one more, but there's another one out there somewhere. But I watched them. So
Hmm.
and some of those guys are aggressive. They are aggressive. So they're like
Yep.
for this, so it's business. Yes, I mean sometimes you can't be too greedy, but at a time where it's like those guys even said it. Like these guys are the ones that are making millions. These guys have been doing it for years and they know what they're doing. This guy's younger than me, older than me. So
Yep.
sometimes I like to use those strategies. Sometimes I tell Randy like, can we just push? Can we try to get as high as you can? I mean, I push, because you never know. That's why like these guys that I watch, I try to let's. I never told Randy, but that I try to learn from them and be aggressive like that. I'm like, dude, try to get that $30,000 assignment fee if we can.
Yeah.
But if we can't, yeah, we can go for that little. But never know until you try. So
So,
that
and this is where I always tell you this. I
yeah.
say it's more in the volume than it is trying to get the most amount out you can out of one deal. You
Mhm,
have to think about you have this deal here, you have to think about the next one, the next one.
mhm,
If you give your buyer, if you try to squeeze every dollar out of your buyer for this first deal, do you think they're going to keep coming back to you for deals?
mhm.
Probably
This is
not.
exactly why this is why I learned it from. Yeah, because back if I didn't have Randy's guidance, I would have never known how to. I would have been like all day, every day. I would have just been like, I'm just gonna milk these people. But then it is true. You might just have one buyer always, and you build that
Hmm.
relationship, and you always find a say. For example, this buyer buys 10 properties from you every month consistently, and they give you $3,000 every assignment. That adds up, compared to
Yep.
a $30,000 assignment fee on this one buyer, you're probably gonna only go to him once. So
Right.
through time, you had that one buyer that you give him 10 houses a month. He pays you 3,000 every fee, every contract.
Hmm.
That's like $30,000, for example, a month from that one buyer. And he's
Yes.
comfortable buying from you because you know. So this is when I learned it too. It's like it's okay to get the small fees because the faster you push it, the faster you don't have to worry about it. It's like you really think about it. It's you're making literally, yeah, your time, yeah, you do work, but it's like
Hmm.
you're making it from your comfort of literally your home. I literally okay, so everybody, this is my full time job. I forgot to mention, or technically is in my full time job now. Um, Eventually, throughout the future, I'll make a whole story about the reason why I did it. There's a whole theory. Nah, well, I could talk about it now just a bit. I mean, I quit my job.
So real quick, so you quit your job based on what?
Yeah,
Why did you quit
so
your job?
yeah, I mean, of course, see, I'm 27, so I'm at the age where like you start to realize. I mean, I think everybody eventually might get to that point where they realize, or they just and things in life just hits you. Things in life just like gets like to the time where like you had your time, you're young, you have fun. You're at the age where like I'm getting old, I'm almost 30. And my
Hmm.
life is to that point where like, hey, I'm not happy, or I'm not
Yep.
happy where I'm at in a situation where not money or whatever. And I was like, dang, do I really want to do this job for the rest of my life, or do I want to find another job and do that job for the rest of my life? And it came to that point where like that's when I'm wholesaling. That's why wholesaling it's amazing. Okay, it's a
Hmm.
skill you need to learn, and it does take patience. So, and I
Yep.
see videos, stories, and you see like, okay, an average job. Okay, I did it by calculations. Okay, average job, in Michigan, the people make like $2,000 to $3,000 a month. Okay, about working 40 hours a week, right?
Hmm.
And I see, and then that's when got me the motivation of like, dude, like if I get this house under assignment fee for like $2,000 to $3,000 in 2 days, that makes up for a month of work. And if I get
Right.
for example, if I get a $10,000 contract deal in 1 month, that makes up for like 2 months of work. You know,
Hmm.
so that's what really motivated me. Yeah, it's sacrifice. Yeah, it takes a lot, of, you know, uh, sacrifice, and it killed me a lot not working, because I was always
Yep.
working all my life since I was like 16, you know. But
So
then real
what did you do not working? How were you able to survive?
oh, how was I
And
surviving? I was
yeah.
surviving hardly, hardly surviving. Luckily, yeah, I'm 27. I still, stay at my parents' house, um, but help take care of stuff here too, But um, the way I did that, so luckily I had Instacart. Instacart. I don't know if you know about it. It's like Uber for grocery shopping. So I just go grocery shopping.
Hmm.
for people. I get paid from the order and tips. So I did that, and that's the reason why I quit my job too, because I was making more money doing that than I did in a day of work. So
Okay.
I'm over here. I'm working my own time, my own schedule. And I'm over here like thinking, if I could put this thing to pause and I just concentrate on real estate or this thing, yeah, wholesaling,
Hmm.
I might be good at it. Because if the whole gist of all of this is like, you know, you never know until you try. Like, will always work. You can always find a job anywhere, anytime. But then learning about this stuff, it does take a lot of time and a lot of sacrifice, and it takes a lot of commitment. So I took that sacrifice back in June to quit my job because I don't know why. Like I saw the vision.
Hmm.
You have to see the vision ahead or be patient because like you do think, because especially with my what I know now, and
Yep.
I never know, next week I might find a $30,000 wholesale dude. I don't know, because that skill level that I kind of learned throughout the time of learning it, you know, it kind of gets to me a level like I know what I'm doing now. I mean, it's like I know that it's literally basic. Okay, wholesaling is literally basic. Okay, it's basic knowing about the terminologies and what to do, how to
Hmm.
do it, literally step by step. It's
Hmm.
just once you get inside of it, actually doing the role, the part of taking action, that's when things might get confusing here and there. But literally, it's find a deal, get on a contract, find a buyer, title company, bam. It's like literally that. It's
Now,
technically like
throughout this whole process, did you ever get discouraged? Was family members being
yeah.
discouraged, saying, "Why are you doing this? Are you stupid? Why'd you quit your job? What the
Oh
heck's
yeah.
wrong with you?" Now,
I already saw it coming.
full disclosure, I don't do this full time. I have a full time job, but I like
Mm.
my job, and that's the
Yeah.
reason why.
Yeah. I mean, I
So,
love my job too. I mean, but it's just like one of those
yeah,
things that like it took up a lot of my time, and I was at work just watching this stuff, and I didn't care about work sometimes. I just want to learn it, you know.
yep,
So it's like when I did it, it's just it was like the moment I quit my job, I'm like, oh shoot, this is this is for real. I gotta, I can't go back now. I can go find out a job, but then I just be back at square one where like I want to do it, but I just gotta wait.
hmm,
So I'm over here like, okay, I never know because what I know now. So I'm like, I could sacrifice 3 months of work, you know, and through that 3 months, I could have all this knowledge that I learned from wholesaling
hmm,
or real estate. And imagine all the people I meet, all the things. And if I make, and it makes up for those 3 months, imagine if I get a $20,000, $30,000 wholesale deal, it makes up for those 2, 3 months that I didn't work because I worked
right,
so hard to build this business up, learn and whatever. That's the whole reason why I decided to take that step because I rather would you for so I've been reading a lot of books through when I did quit the summertime and
hmm,
a lot of motivational videos. And it does, our time is our grind, and it's like, would you rather sacrifice 1 year of your life to better the rest of your life? You know,
100%.
literally.
Now the thing is that I don't recommend anyone just to go up and quit
Oh
their
yeah,
job and
no,
then
no,
start doing
don't,
this.
yeah, yeah, don't use me as a role model.
Yeah,
No, no, no. It's
no,
it's if you
no,
feel comfortable. I mean, it's like
yeah.
if
Everyone
you feel
has
like
to feel comfortable.
if you're at a situation in your time in your life where you had multiple jobs, you had different jobs, and especially during COVID, and you understand like $15 an hour is not gonna cut it no more nowadays. Literally.
Right.
So like back then it did for some damn reason, but now it's like $15 a new $7 an hour job.
Yep.
So but it's like no discourage anybody that works there. I mean, I totally don't discourage anybody that has a job. Because I worked hard. I have everybody here still works, but this skill is just like it's a good skill to really learn. I do recommend like everybody. I'm not gonna lie, everybody should learn this because you never know when you come to that situation when someone that Obama does want to sell a house. Hey, I have the paperwork for it. I know how to do it.
Hmm.
Oh, I want to go to a realtor. Do you really want to go to a realtor? I have investors that are willing to buy your house for how much you want, how much you need.
Right.
It's the knowing, you know, and a house is an asset, and and a house is always going to be sold through time. It's just always going to be there. So there's millions of houses in the world, and then the
Yep.
real estate game is just always going to be there. So that skill about it and knowing just a little bit about it helps a lot.
Oh, 100%. And so that's the thing, like with, you know, I'm glad that I was able to help you out as much as I could. And I got you your first deal. I was very happy with that. Um, that added into a lot of good things that were coming, coming through for what we needed.
Hmm.
But the thing is that I'm here to help as many people out here as I can. So first off, if you're interested in JVing with me, my number is right here at the bottom, as well as my email scrolling through the bottom here. Randy buys houses, mi@gmail.com. I'm happy to look at anything, see if I have any buyers, but I'm going to be brutally honest. Was I with your other deals, was I brutally honest with you on exactly where they probably need to be
For which one?
for any
Oh,
of the other deal, any
yeah,
deals?
yeah. I mean, because back then when I didn't know understand it, because when you get all these buyers and you send them the information with all these deals that you have or whatever,
Hmm.
they give you this number and then they're like, they all start to give you that same ballpark number what they ask. So
Yep.
I'm like, okay, maybe I am doing something wrong. I'm close, but I'm a little off. So
Yep.
like I'm over here thinking like all these. So I had so let everybody know I had two contracts that expired and didn't go through. One of them was it was like a virtual deal. The second one was a virtual deal. That one was like somewhere out in the boonies, but luckily I just did that because it was luckily I had to put EMD down and all that stuff. So as long as you don't have to put EMD down, you're fine with the contract. So I had that going, but I couldn't sell it. I was pushing it, trying as hard as I can, find buyers left and
Hmm.
right, tried every day. I'll probably contact like 100 buyers. But I may not get any of them that want to buy the house. But then I met a lot of people through that time. You know,
Right.
so and yeah, so through that one, I had lost those two contracts, but that's what think about it. I lost those two, but I got literally when I lost those two contracts expired, I got this one. You know,
Yep.
the moment I lost those, it adds that extra boost of motivation. You do have to have a lot of motivation. So I think the reason why I told Randy before a while back, if we do get the deal, I want to be on a podcast, But for me, like, yeah, I did want to be on it. This is more like it can happen kind of video.
Yes.
Like you could be somebody like me, somebody like Randy, anybody, that
If I
comes
was
from
if
nothing.
I was Brent Daniels, I'd be having a bell over here ringing it,
Yeah,
And if anybody knows who Brent Daniels is, he's on, wholesale hotline, and
uh,
he's all about that. So, but I don't have
yeah.
a bell, so I'm
That,
chill.
well,
So,
like what I really want to. I mean, I know. So I watch a lot of Zach and Jen, so they always hype
yep.
me up. But they told me, it's like if you really want to do this business, like wholesaling, you don't really need to spend money. 100%, you don't.
Hmm.
I mean, yes, it'll be easier to help, with stuff. But then if you're spending money and don't know what you're doing, you're just wasting your money. So,
Correct.
like you say, if you're buying a course for $3,000, dude, all that stuff they told you on that course, you can learn it on YouTube nowadays. Literally, you can learn anything on YouTube, and it's just the little bits of stuff that people, oh, I haven't got my first deal yet, but then
Hmm.
everything's there on YouTube. But it's just you maybe you just have to
Yeah.
work around it. Everything you need.
Everything. So the thing is that you can learn anything you want on YouTube.
Mhm,
Okay. A course just aggregates the information into a step-by-step process,
mhm,
because you can go down a YouTube rabbit hole and learn and learn and learn, and you're missing the one thing for you to get deals, and that's taking action.
yep, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do anything, but the moment you don't take action, none of that matters. Literally.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it
So
it helps.
most definitely, the biggest thing I'm very happy for you is that you actually took action. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of you on that. Now, one step further that I need you to do is this: all those people that you went to and you found on Facebook that those prices were too high, or things that, um, they just didn't fit the formula,
Mhm,
is you go back to them now and you follow up with them and see where they're at. And you just keep following up, because most of the time you're going to get your most profitable deals from the follow-ups.
Mhm.
All
Yeah,
right.
it's funny you say that. I did that the other day. I went through my whole Facebook market, some of them they sold already, so I just went
Yep.
through whatever, you know, and my old Zillow leads that I seen like 40 days ago, but those I followed back with them, and then there are some sellers they are just still stuck on their numbers,
Yep.
but it's okay, you know. But I do try to follow up with them as much as I can, So,
Yep.
but it helps, once you get that relation, the rapport with them. So, but it's just I still have a lot to learn, So whoever's watching this,
Yep.
I still have a lot to learn. Randy too, I'm pretty sure he does.
Oh
It's just,
yeah.
um, yeah, I have a lot of stuff to learn. There's still a lot of stuff that I don't know yet. But
Mm-hmm.
the fact that like I've known more now than I've known before, it just helps a lot. And then especially getting this deal, it's like, hey, my method worked. Whatever I did, it worked. But I just can't remember how to do it
Mm-hmm.
or copy it. It's copy, you know, it's like in between that, it's just you just gotta fix it. It's like it could be solved. It's just you just gotta figure it out in your own way. This you can get any house under contract. You just gotta figure out how to say it to the sellers
Yes.
and how to talk and how to get them into that kind of vibe to where they want to talk to you. Literally.
Most definitely. So before we go on a tangent here, so
Yeah, like I said, I could talk. If you know me, if I could talk for
I,
days.
I do.
I tell
So
people I want to be like eventually in the future. I see me as like a motivational speaker because I just love to talk and then I talk fast,
yep.
but it's just like I just like to talk story tell. I,
Yep.
I tell people that.
So that's one thing is that the good thing is you got a story from this. Okay.
Yeah.
So now what are your plans in the future, and what did you do with your the money that you got from your first deal?
Oh,
So
so
let's start off with what did you do with the money that you got from your first deal
I'm
first
not.
off.
I didn't want to like. So of course, pay some bills. Of course, you got bills. Of course,
I mean, you've been out of work for how
a lot of
long?
that went to bills. So I mean, it may seem like it was a lot, but you really think about it, it's not a lot because taxes. So you really think you gotta
Yep.
be smart about that. And then it's like, okay, I can't be too crazy because what if I don't get another deal? You always
Yep.
have to have a little bit negative sometimes. This is like, but it's just like also like, dude, if I lose this money, I might
Mm-hmm.
find another deal next week and it makes up for it. But it's just it's not too good to be true, but it can
Yep.
be too good to be true because, like I said, the skill of knowing wholesaling or real estate, it's
Yes.
just like I could just wake up tomorrow morning and just see something on Facebook, a house pop up, and I just, hey, is this available? So I'm like, yes, I want to buy it today. Okay, sign a purchase agreement. It could be literally that's how fast things could happen. This is the whole reason
Yep.
why I chose to want to learn this business full time, even if I don't ever find a job again. My mom, dad, they all, of course, the discouragements. I
Of
had,
course.
you get those, everybody, but then I had to learn. I had to get that. Who cares about that negativity out of
Yep.
the way? Two books that I read that I think everybody should read, and especially if they want to get into that entrepreneur or business
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle, especially if you do feel like you want to quit your job. You feel like your worth is there. Everybody, your time is so much what has so much worth to it that like,
Mm-hmm.
it's like if you do feel like it's okay to quit your job and then you're okay with it, it's fine. I did it, and if you feel like this business could help, it could. This thing is just like, you know, I'm over here like I could talk for days, but I'm over here like I'm proof of
Yep.
that happening. I quit my job. You know, we made we made a pretty good deal, JV deal. That
Yep.
makes up for those 2 3 months that I didn't work. You know, so and over here like I just feel like I can get another deal tomorrow. That's how much energy and motivation it gave me.
Most definitely. Now, first off, tell everybody how much we made on the deal.
Yeah.
What was
So
the assignment fee?
the assignment fee was 1,500. 15,000. 15,000.
15,000. We
So
split it
50 50.
50-50, 7,500 each. Okay.
Mhm.
And Was that life changing money for you, or was that a
It,
stepping stone? You
yeah, I mean,
know,
it's ain't no other job gonna pay me $7,000, right?
yep,
Unless you're, I mean, a doctor or something like that, But especially, I'm doing all this from home,
yep,
literally. If I had to go to the property, I'll go drive there. But literally, I do all this from home, and it's possible. This is it's one of those things that the things that I read in my book. So I never read books in my life. So the moment I decided, okay, I'm gonna try to read books, but I couldn't read it physically. I had an audiobook, so that helped. So while I Instacarted, I had it in my ear all day, reading. So the first book I read was uh, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Okay,
okay,
that's the first book I read, and that's one of those books that it doesn't have to really necessarily do with real estate, but it has to do with the reason why I did the things that I did, the reason why I quit my job, the reason why I see so much potential in this real estate lifestyle than I do at a job. It's because of that book. It teaches you a lot of values, a lot of stuff, and not to be afraid of what people say or what you do. You can read that book and you can use it to use it on anything in life.
right.
And the second book I read was Think and Grow Rich, right? Think and Grow Rich. So that's the second book I read. And I was on my third book, but I forgot about it. But those two books are the two powerful books that I think it was good enough to where it got to me where like I do recommend everybody to read. Especially if you want to
Hmm.
get to that. If you feel like you're not in that position in life, like you just feel like you don't need anything, you don't have nobody. But those books really kind of like open up your mind, open up what the world really wants you to know, but not telling you, But I'm trying to get out of the system, you know. I'm trying to
Yep.
learn this business so I can get out of the system,
You
literally.
want to
Not
get out of the rat race,
yeah,
right?
like out of the system. It's not like I want to be
Yep.
rich. I don't want to be rich. It's just the financial freedom. You know, it's time. Our time is so powerful. Our life is so powerful. We don't want to spend it 40 hours, 60 hours a week at a job when you could use that
Hmm.
time at home with your kids, family, somebody, boyfriend, girlfriend. You can use that for someone. You read those books and you start to value
Yep.
life. Like, damn, you're right. Because I realized that because I didn't learn anything in college. I learned stuff, but it didn't get me anywhere. I wasted
Yeah.
money, and I don't want to say wasted money, but I went to school, took a loan out. I have to pay that loan back. But I didn't use that knowledge of school to my life in the future.
Hmm.
Because once you get older, I'm 27, but throughout time you go to kindergarten to a college, master's degree, doctor's degree, you know, you don't not even guarantee a job. So this is
One hundred
why
percent.
it's good to educate yourself outside of the actual school system, you know. So I did that,
Yep.
and that's when I learned.
So on this, so we have, okay. So you got your first assignment, fee, things like that. You paid off some bills. Did you start an LLC before you started any of this?
Oh no, so LLC, no, I didn't have no LLC. I thought about doing it like the first month. I'm like, I'm gonna get LLC, but if I got an LLC back then, I mean, I may have had got a deal, but it would have been,
Hmm.
why, So I wanted to be like, okay, I don't need LLC yet. I could work with a JV, have him have a J. I knew he had an LLC, Randy, and or I could do it with my name. I had a couple of deals right now. Actually, I have under my name, um, but
Hmm.
I don't know how it's gonna work with taxes. But eventually, the time when I feel comfortable enough to, I want to get an LLC, I'm gonna get an LLC. So
100%. You don't have to wait until you have an LLC or anything like
mhm,
that. But as soon as you can, as soon as you get some money, it costs $50 in the state of Michigan to do it. If you want to do it right, and have the different tiers, Pace Morby follows this whole step
mhm,
in legal place. It's a couple $100, but I started one on, you can do it all online. You don't have to go in there. It's literally $50 to start online. You can get your EIN number, and then you just need, just some money to put into the bank account. Usually only 25 to $50 put in the bank account, and kind of go from there.
mhm,
So, because they'll give you a check, but the only place you'll be able to cash it is at your own bank with your business bank account. So
Mhm.
that's the deal with that.
Yeah.
Um, you know, what I would always say is I recommend people get an LLC just so they're protected for liability issues.
Mhm.
Okay. But do you have to? No.
Mhm.
Okay. Do you have to? Not really. And you talk with people just like people and just like as you're an individual and things like that. So
Mhm.
by all means, you don't have to wait. Okay. Just always take action.
Yeah.
Take action, period. All
Yep.
right. So with that being said, what is your next steps and what do you plan on doing moving forward?
So I mean, it's still grind. It's still gonna be a grind. I mean, it's not like I'm gonna stop because you get hungrier sometimes.
Hmm.
You do get hungrier. You're like, it's like you want more. It's not like it's like greed in a weird way. It's like just two different ways I can explain it. It's like, dude, if I could do it, not one, I could do another one. It's like it
Hmm.
is possible. I see people do it on YouTube. 'Cause I use YouTube a lot, but
Yep.
you can see people closing 5, 10 deals a month, even more. And I'm over here like I'm pretty close, not close, but I'm getting to that point where like I'm able to get leads, like at least 2, 3 leads a week. At least enough. To where like I might be able to close them. You never know. It comes to that
Right.
point where like the idea of it is just there. It's I'm
Hmm.
just gonna keep going at it because even if I get that one deal a month, it could be bigger than 3 deals I did at a time. So it's just
Yep.
like I'm just gonna keep going it. Like I always tell myself, the moment I find a job, I'll go back to a job. That's the moment I give up because I'm over here learning a job, doing something, and getting good at that for what? And I could be at home learning this skill, you know,
Hmm.
and better and getting a deal done. And
This is all a numbers game.
it
Okay.
is, it is.
And it really is it's actually there's another, if you talk to 200 qualified sellers,
Mhm.
200 qualified sellers, you are going to get a deal.
Yeah,
Okay.
eventually, yeah, it's gonna happen. I tell people all the time.
It Period. You may get more than one, but on average, that's about what you need to do.
Yeah,
Talk to 200 motivated sellers,
yep,
and one of them you will close that deal.
yeah,
Okay. And
it is.
those others you may close later on, and they're just putting your follow-ups.
Mhm.
You never know.
You just
So
never know.
I have homework for you. Okay. And obviously you don't have to turn it into me or do anything like that.
We get
But
graded on this, man.
no, you're not getting graded on it. But
I'll pay you in deals.
is come up with some sort of way to track everything, a
Mhm,
CRM, whether it be a spreadsheet. Because we're doing this with $0,
mhm,
you can do it in a Google Sheets and keep track of everything.
mhm.
Okay. So name a person, or the address of the property that you had. If you gave an offer, and any notes that you add, and then when was the last time you contacted them?
Mhm.
Okay. Then the same thing on the next one. And then when you follow up, what helps you is you can look at that before you go in, and now you remember exactly what you did. You offered them XYZ.
Mhm.
They had a family member pass away, or they were going to a party or whatever. Now you can bring up that and say, hey, I'm sorry that blah 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 passed away. Hey, how are you doing? How's things been going with you? Now you're sympathetic to them and you're building rapport.
Yep.
you know so do something instead of just having it all on Facebook and Messenger,
Yeah.
and it could be out here. Put it in a nice simple spreadsheet for you. Okay.
On Excel. Yep. On Google. At Google Sheets.
Google Sheets, Excel, whatever you feel comfortable with. I like Google Sheets because I can access it from any
Mhm.
computer.
Yeah,
Okay.
I use Excel a lot in my last job, so
Yeah.
I should be alright with it.
Yep.
I'm
So
tough from tech. I used to, but then that's the thing about people. I did everything on my cell phone, so it's
Okay.
possible. I mean, like I said,
It's 100%
it's
possible.
like you can do anything if you put your mind to it. Like literally, it's there. Everything's there. Technology is there. It makes it just a lot easier. I tell people if
Yep.
people ask me, "Are you gonna get your license?" I'm like, "No, I'm not get." Are you gonna get like? You don't need a realtor license to actually do this business. If anybody's wondering,
Not yet.
Well, not
Not
yet. Yeah,
yet.
I heard stories about stuff
And the
very.
reason why I'm doing this live is to educate other wholesalers so that we don't keep getting bad names and we
Mhm,
don't lock up deals too high or anything like that, so that we we at least work together
mhm.
to be able to fight any type of legislation that does come through, and we
Yeah,
keep this as long as possible, not to have
yeah,
this.
yeah. By far, yeah.
Okay.
So that's like I said, I've always had interest in doing real estate and wanted to be a realtor. Like I went to like Keller Williams interview like a couple years ago, and they
Hmm.
keep calling me till the day. But I've always had an interest in wanting to sell houses. But then I didn't
Hmm.
have the time or the money to get my realtor license, and I didn't
Yep.
want to go through. And I watched videos. I'm like, oh, I want to do it, but I don't know. I don't know where one blue moon. I saw wholesaling. I saw something about
Yep.
wholesaling, and then
So the one thing that I would recommend that you start looking into, obviously doing the Google Sheets is your first is like a free CRM,
yep,
okay, for you. You can do Podio and kind of create your own Podio, and for the first 500 contacts, it's free. Okay,
mhm,
so you can do that. That's all free. This is all free stuff. Now, when you do decide, because you don't have access to MLS, I do recommend you get some sort of, and I would research which one to get, whether it be batch leads, whether it be prop stream, whether it be privy, whether it be whichever service you want to do. That will help you tremendously with comping.
yeah.
Okay.
That's I haven't used because when I first this is that's the thing. When I first started wholesaling, I
Yep.
got the free trial for prop stream. I used that, and then when my trial went up, it's $100 a month after that if you don't have
Mm-hmm.
a child. But I'm like, dang, I can't afford to keep paying $100 a month. So I haven't used that yet, but I know how to use it. So
Mm-hmm.
uh luckily I know how to use it and I forgot all about it to be honest. So luckily I forgot
Yep.
all about it now that I have not say I have the money, but I have the tools that I could use now if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole thing. Like I try to get this deal without money first. Imagine if I had money in it and used in it, I could be getting this stuff done faster, or making it like easier for me. But I like a challenge, It never, it is always
Yep.
good to go through the hard things first sometimes. But it worked, but I knew if I had the money to do all this buy prop streams or
Mm-hmm.
all this other stuff, driving for dollars, stuff like
Driving for dollars.
yeah.
And that would, if for somebody who's just getting started, that is the best thing to do is actually do a driving for
Yeah,
dollars.
that
Okay.
works too. Yep.
Driving for dollars lists work perfect because you can go in there, you know that there's some sort of distress. Now, they may not be open to selling,
Mhm.
but you can keep them on your follow up. And those people might not be in anybody else's list.
Yep.
Okay, because they may not have any issues, they may not have any tax liens or bankruptcy, or there might not be any foreclosures or anything like that, and they have everything paid, they're just not upkeeping on the house.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's the thing about these, like especially like they're off market too, so you don't have to worry about anybody else like offering or any offer bids or. So for
Yep.
me, mine these are like public houses that I found that I was able to talk to a seller and get them to accept my offer. So these ones are like technically they're off market for some of our owners, but
Mm-hmm.
they have a number that they're already wanting to sell their house. So driving for dollars, though that way, that's there's ways you gotta find the information, get the numbers, and call them. So through that way, some people you do get the people that do say, yeah, I want to sell my house. Or I thought about it, but then of course you can get the ones that say don't ever call me. You get those, but don't let
Mm-hmm.
those bad ones get to your head because
Yep.
20 more calls, you might get a deal. So always you're gonna have probably 99% of the time a lot more negativity than positivity in this business. Just letting a lot of people know. You know.
So we had, um, again, you found these deals on Facebook,
Yeah.
correct?
Facebook.
Facebook Marketplace.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, were they asking a lot of money for them
Some
compared to
do,
what we
some don't.
closed?
Yeah, some do
Okay.
and some don't. And like I said, it depends on like usually when I do get the address and I look it up
Mm-hmm.
before I even make an offer. I learned how to do that a lot better now. But if the numbers are like I said, now I have enough. Now I have like a little decent list of buyers that were like, okay, if I now some buyers that I know they don't mind me bringing the deal to them before I even sign a contract. Some people, so
Mm-hmm.
I go to them, hey, is this gonna be a good deal for you?
But
And
that's in trust, and you
yeah, that's
have to
trust. That's
trust your
trust. Yes,
buyers.
that's no good go.
Okay.
That's trust. So you're gonna all this once you actually take action, get comfortable with people. But yeah, so you eventually get to those trustworthy buyers that like, hey, if you're willing to pay me a fee, I'll get you this deal. You know, a buyer,
Yep.
depending on the right one, of course you're gonna get the one that who I don't care if you make $50,000 on this fee, but if I know if I'm making this much, I don't care how much I pay you. So you just never know. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
I did that. Me and Randy for this deal, he had buyers, so we had an
Mm-hmm.
idea of the number. We didn't really lock it in yet, but
Right.
the moment we brought the buyer in, he said this number, and we luckily our buyer didn't tell the seller that he was the one buying it. So just little
Mm-hmm.
tips and tricks that you will need to learn, especially in this business. It's like if you have it under contract or you have trustworthy buyers, they know they're like say Randy just told me about this week. Your buyers, if they're trustworthy and they know their job, they know they're going in there as like a contractor. So
Mm-hmm.
they know not to go behind your back or do all this stuff, trying to negotiate with the buyer, you
So
know.
speaking of that, what big mistake did you do? What big mistake did you do that you learned this week?
Yeah, so this one, technically it was my fault. It was, but it was like kind of like it happened so fast, So for this one was like, so we actually have me and Randy actually have a house under contract right now together, in Warren.
Mm-hmm.
So I forgot to talk about that, but this is our
That's
actual
okay.
second one we're working on together. So that one probably be for part two eventually in the future, if we do get it done. But knock on wood, But we're actually working on one together. So what I did, I had a buyer that I just met on Facebook that buys in the local area, and I when I go Facebook when I go through look for buyers, I use Google, I use Facebook, I use everything, whatever, if I can find a buyer. So this guy, he wanted to see the house quick, blah blah, and then before he could ever see it, uh, I didn't tell him the situation of like, hey, you're going in there as, I mean, as you think that I did tell him that I'm a wholesaler, that stuff, but I just didn't know him enough. I didn't. I thought I trusted him. I thought he would know, but he went in there, uh,
Mm-hmm.
doing his thing. He did a thing that like he was a wholesaler. He was a wholesaler, but he's a buyer too. And so he went in, and then he literally said the same exact things that me and Randy said. Like as like a wholesaler, you have like this little certain script that we go, I have to talk
Yep.
and talk. So the moment I heard that, I just went. I just like paused. I'm like, oh shoot. I thought this guy knew that he was a contractor, or he not to pretty much talk
Mm-hmm.
like a wholesaler. And so that I called Randy. I'm like, hey man, like, I don't know, I kind of messed up. I don't know what to do. So luckily, we have a good relation with the seller too. So luckily, after the seller and them talk, they did a thing. They left, and I talked to the seller. Luckily, he understood. Like, hey man, what's going on? I thought you got like so. Some buyers or sellers they forget that they think that we are the buyers, but then and they do sign a contract. But then in the contract, it states that we do have we could sell it at a third party, whatever. But and some buyers they know that we're wholesalers, but then when we tell them that we're not buyers, we bring contracts over, they might get upset. Like, hey, wait, are they
Mm-hmm.
buying? Or are you guys buying? What's going on? So,
So on that one, on this one, I go through my spiel where I tell everybody, hey, we have different strategies, blah blah blah, this and that.
mhm,
And we told that to them. they still thought, and they still thought I worked it out with them that I told them, I'm like, listen, we came to you for a price reduction. I asked you for this. You came back at a little bit higher. I told you I'm doing my best to be able to get you your price. And in order to do that, I have to walk some other people through there. Now, the biggest problem that he had, the biggest problem that you did, Matt, was you did not prep the buyer.
Mhm.
All right. Your buyer's not supposed to talk about price, especially if they're in front of the seller.
Mhm.
What happened is that this buyer thought that he was working with Matt to JV,
Mhm.
and so therefore he's trying to pitch the deal to them in order to get it under contract. And the other one of the other guys actually knew his family, got their number, and luckily, because there was two guys, luckily one of the wholesalers that was there actually knows me and knows who I am, and he called me right on my cell phone right after you guys met.
Mhm.
And he's like, we could have snaked this deal away easily. And so it's a good thing they didn't, because we have it under contract.
Mhm.
But we're still working with trying to get this deal sold. So
Yeah.
anybody out there, we have a property in Warren.
Mhm.
It needs a lot of work. Okay. It's on
You
the
have to
Van
have a
Dyke
vision.
corridor.
There's a vision for it,
So
though. I mean,
it's
it's not a bad
correct.
house. I mean, if I really wanted to buy it, and but I don't
Yep.
want to live in Warren for less, but I could buy it and do whatever. But
Yep.
it's actually a nice, for that area. I mean, I think it was worse before we even saw it. I'm pretty sure. But
Most definitely. So, with that being said, you always have to prep your
yeah,
buyers, and you tell them we'll talk after we're out of there,
yeah,
especially if the seller is there. Okay. In this case, the seller was there because he didn't feel comfortable enough to put a lockbox on there.
hmm
Okay. So on that case, after this, we actually talked, and I ended up getting a lockbox to go on there. So that's the good thing.
hmm
But we have an understanding. We know what we're doing, and I told him I'm on your guys' side here. I'm trying to sell this and get as much money out of this as for you guys as possible. You know, and if that makes us, we're not going to make as much as the last deal, but I'm just hoping to make something on
yeah,
this deal. Okay, that's it.
yeah,
Get it sold, because ultimately we're here to help people, and
yeah.
we're here
No
to
problem.
provide options for
Yeah,
other people. Okay, so when that's with that being said, you know it's a huge learning curve. I've
hmm
learned something new from every single deal that I've done,
yep. I,
and every single deal that has gone wrong and
mhm.
haven't done. So,
Yeah,
I know, Matt, you're doing the same thing. You're
yeah.
learning from everything that you've
I have
done.
to. Mhm.
And so we're just going to keep learning. Now, going through title process and going through this whole title work, what did you learn about that?
So luckily for title, I for some damn reason I thought that I would never have a problem with it, but I so far I haven't, because when I first started, I already had like a couple title companies that people recommend, and once you
Hmm.
find a title company, especially if it's local, and it's fun. I talked to the title company before I even had to deal with anybody, because I wanted to make sure to find the right title company before I did anything, so I know where to go to quick. So I had to find like a investor, a wholesale friendly, you know,
Yep.
title company, and I had a whole bunch of recommendations, of course, in the area. So it was, of course, Aaron. I don't know how to say the last name, but he was the first guy that I met and called. Even to this day, for some reason, even all the people that I talk, all buyers, everybody that I met, network with, they all go to him. So I'm like, okay, this guy seems legit. So for that process, they're just like, hey, get the deal, get it on a contract, both sides, bring it in, I'll handle it from there. So it's like I never really had a problem with it, especially with fundings. Fundings went through quick, when we had ours, when
Hmm.
it was fast. Uh, Other than that, it's just waiting for it to close. That's all that really is with the title company. That's nothing really big issue. I haven't had an issue with it yet, except for right now. I have actually right now. I'm actually doing a JV deal with a guy. It's for a little property in Jackson. Uh,
Hmm.
but right now, so he bought this property in an auction, and for some reason he said he had it under his name already from the
Hmm.
auction, and I don't know how that process works with that auction stuff. But and then he says that it already went through to it's going through the Jackson County title or deed place, whatever they sent it out to get that name. He's trying to get a quick claim deed on the house,
To get it
but
recorded. Yep.
so luckily the deal of this one, I had a buyers interested, but then not much people really pulled through. So the guy that I JV with, he found the lead for me, but I just did all the all the due diligence, getting this house under contract and all that stuff.
Hmm.
So he was gonna be JVing with me. So he was gonna JV, but then the seller wanted it sell fast. So the guy that was gonna JV with me, luckily he's a buyer. He's like, "Hey Matt, I think I'm just gonna buy this for what you got under purchase agreement for." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. So how much would you give me to find the deal?" I thought I was over here like, "Oh, I'm gonna get a lot. Oh my gosh!" But it's just like I kind of stand. He got the lead. I just got the deal for him. He's gonna buy it, pay me what a few thousand for it. So I
Hmm.
don't have to worry about it. It's a property that's totally out of my market. So it's technically like a virtual
Hmm.
deal. So I'm just I got under contract and we're just waiting right now. I followed the seller. They're waiting for it should be sending over to the title company like this week, something like that. So once that goes through,
Awesome.
yeah, my buyer, he's gonna sign the paperwork, whatever he do the thing, closing, and pay me a
Hmm.
$1,000 fee. And I'm like, all right, I take that. I don't have to worry about this house anymore. But earlier, I was just like, not earlier, like a couple days ago, I was over here like trying to find buyers, all that stuff. I'm like,
Yep.
all right, we're just gonna buy it and we wait for the paperwork. Okay, I don't have to worry about it anymore. So I'm just waiting for that.
That's awesome. So
So
that'll be officially your second deal, you know?
yeah,
Uh,
like a small fee. Yeah, but
yep. It's small
it's a
fee,
different
but
process too. It's weird. It's so creative. This whole thing.
exactly. So these are different ways you're learning that you can bring value to other people
Yep.
in order to help them. So this other guy, he has so much leads coming in that he doesn't have time to deal with them.
Mhm.
So here's you're offering up your, hey, I'll put this together, get it under contract, blah blah blah, try to find a buyer and see what we can do, you
There's
know?
trust too, So like I did get greedy on it because I didn't know the comps. I had like good due diligence on how much the numbers were because
Hmm.
like he probably think that I'm so new at this, blah blah blah. And I did trying to milk him for a little too much, but over here I'm like, hey, this house is valued at over 100,000 plus, and we're getting it under 10K. Getting it for 10K, you know,
Yep.
and it leaves you so much room, like I want at least like, I didn't ask for much. I was like, 7K. I mean, I'm over here like 7K, it's like I'm not being greedy, but I know it's like, hey man, if you're gonna buy this,
Yep.
I know the worth of this house, man. It's like I have it under contract, technically you found me the lead, but it's under my name. I didn't want to be a hole in that, but he kind of got upset at me for asking for too much. And then I kind of got in my realizations too. I'm like, you know what? It's not a big deal. He got me
Hmm.
the lead and I got him a contract lead. So this contract was I woke up, he texted me, hey, I sent you a lead, looked at my email, looked it up, called it, locked it up in like literally 2 hours, 3 hours, and blah blah blah. We did our thing of that, and then eventually a couple days later, my buyer's like, "Hey, I might have to just buy it because the seller wants it in that." Because the
So
seller
how
seems
much time do you have total into that? Couple
oh
hours?
yeah, about because this is like once you figure out there's some things like some people once you learn how to do it, and there is some situations that it might just speed up and go fast. You never know
Yep.
because people like take time. Some people just like, hey, I just want to sell this and that, blah blah. Just never know because once you have that technology or the basic
Yep.
knowledge of it, it's good to go, good game.
So a couple grand, we'll call it a couple grand that you're gonna get. We don't need to know the exact number, but that's roughly $1,000 an hour.
Yeah, about yeah, literally.
So
Yeah, it's like
There's
I'm gonna
nowhere that I
that's
know you
yeah,
can
if you
make
think
a
about it like
thousand
that, yeah.
dollars an hour.
If you think of it, if you compare it to like a job and you make it monthly,
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy because okay, I'm over here thinking like because the reason why I'm so stuck in it because I got so stuck in the greed of like how much you could really make at an average
Yep.
wholesale deal is like $10,000, which seems like it's a lot, but it's actually little. But so that's the reason why
Yeah. So this is where you need to think about mindset and where you can bring it back to them. And with this guy, how you could have avoided maybe insulting them like
Mhm,
that.
mhm.
What do you think is fair?
uh because like I said,
No, I'm saying you could have said that to him.
oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, that's what I did.
And
But then I gave him the
and
gist of it. Yeah, I gave him the
yeah,
understanding of
yeah.
it because I did tell him like, hey, I it's not like I wasn't working. I wasn't trying to find out some buyer.
Yep.
It's like I called, I negotiated a price for us, I got it under contract. It's like you're the buyer. Look, you brought me the lead, but you didn't really do anything to it. Like I'm pretty sure you said you
Mhm.
up on MLS or do this and that, but I don't know you enough to where like I could trust you. So, but I got it on a contract to where like, hey man, like you trust me enough to where I got the lead.
Yep.
Luckily for me, I came back to you with this lead in this. Imagine if I just took that lead and just kept it for myself, But I
Right.
went back to him as a good person I am, and then I I could have offered more. That's the thing.
Right.
It's like I had made a fair offer. I'm like I went down to like what 7K,
Mhm.
5K, and he kind of took offense to that, and then he's like, and he woke up the next day. He messaged me back. He left me a red, but he left message back. Like, hey man, I slept on it, and I thought about it, like, hey, you actually are doing work. It's not like you're not doing anything, you know. And then if I have any more future deals, then I would want to work with you, whatever. And if you can
Mhm.
get it, blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, it's not like I'm not gonna come back to you again and not talk to you about business. I'm gonna keep doing business with you, because you gave me this lead and I closed in like less than 2 hours, whatever, so I don't know where he went. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those like trust, man. This is like I don't really keep a tab on him, but then like we talking there. It's all business when we talk.
Yeah, it looks like we dropped out for a moment, but that's all good. So we're coming to the end here, okay? And if anybody out there wants to be able to get a hold of you, how can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, so of course, Facebook. Facebook is probably I've been social media active for the last 10 years. So like, if you could reach me, if you need to reach, you can reach me through Facebook faster than you probably my text, even if you go to the phone. Because everything I do talk to people is on Messenger, especially pictures is easier for me to figure it out and who they are. Text message, I get a lot nowadays. You get a lot of spams, those fake ones, or people just spam you.
Yep.
So I don't like to text on my phone text unless it's someone I know, or other than that, you could reach my number too. But I had two numbers. My second number, I'm not gonna use it no more. The one that you call me, I'm gonna go back to my original number just because I seem like it works better for me. Because when I call on my Text Now app, it comes as scam likely. So
Yep.
that's what my buddy told me. So I'm like, if I use my number, I'm not afraid to use my regular number. But my number, I don't know if you guys want my number
No,
here.
no, no, you don't need to give out your number.
Okay, yeah,
Just
I'm
your
not
social
gonna.
media
But yeah,
handles is fine.
social media is probably the best way you can reach me under this page, on Randy's page, or yeah, the Metro Detroit or page on group. You can reach me through Facebook, social media,
Mhm.
Instagram. I use that for personal reasons, but Facebook's the best.
All
But
right, and it's just your name,
yeah, Matt Lee. Oh yeah,
Matt
Matt Lee.
Lee. All right,
Maybe we
awesome.
do part two
So
eventually in the future. So
So
yeah,
most definitely. So we're wrapping this up here. If you ever do, if anyone out there needs help with closing sellers or anything like that, give me a call or email me with the deal or anything like that. I'll be happy to help and do whatever I can to help. We're here to help. I created this Facebook group in order for us to kind of do deals together, make sure that we're doing things the right way, and where we can all help each other out. So the good thing is that I'm doing it by action. I'm also trying to add value by doing these lives, interviewing different people. Next week, we will have somebody on here for multifamily. So that would be awesome. Can't wait for that.
Mhm.
But if you are interested, hit me up right here. Text me, give me a call. If I don't answer, I'll give you a call back, or email me. Randy buys houses mi@gmail.com. Thank you. You guys all have a good day. Let's all do deals together.
Yep.
All right.
Bye, guys.